We'll move on now to the dimension of the right to learn. This covers the life cycle from early childhood all the way to the skills phase. This is really exciting. We are very delighted that the Philippines and the Philippine Statistics Authority decided in 2022 to include the Early Childhood Development Index in their survey. This is not an easy thing to do, and they have done it. And that gives us really good insights on how children are doing when it comes, yes, let's clap, in that childhood phase. So this indicator measures a number of indicators, tests to see how these children are doing and whether they're developmentally on track. What we see is that overall, about 76.8% of children are considered developmentally on track, but big variation by region, as you see there. The one on the very right at 46.9% is BARM, and then you see the variations across the different regions. We want to move on now to school attendance for early childhood education. By here, we mean 3- and 4-year-olds, right? At 5 years old, you start kindergarten in the Philippines. This is an area where the Philippines could do much better than it is now. You see really, really, really low numbers when it comes to 3- and 4-year-olds who are attending preschool. Lowest in Region 9 and in BARM, and not much better elsewhere. Why is this important? We know in the Philippines as well as other places that children that go to preschool do better once they get to primary school. In the Philippines, we did this amazing study. I'm glad to see our friends from the Australian Embassy here. Thanks to their partnership, we were able to do a cohort study on ECE. We followed children from the time that they were 3 years old all the way to the time that they reached grade 4. And we tested them every year. The kids that went to preschool did better than the ones that didn't. And the fact that they did better continued all the way to grade 4. So pre-elementary education really is an investment that pays time. The ones that go to pre-primary are less likely to be repeating once they get to elementary school. So we really need to do better when it comes to pre-primary education, early childhood education in the Philippines. Now, moving on now to the 6 to the 17-year-olds, you see the school attendance here. The blue are currently attending, the orange are not attending. Very good numbers when it comes to primary school, the 6 to 11-year-olds. You see a bit of a decrease when it comes to 12 and 15-year-olds, and then more on the 16 and 17-year-olds. So the trend is upwards in terms of access to education, basic education in the Philippines, but the numbers of the 16 and 17-year-olds are worrying. And in the Philippines, about 60% of adolescents who are not in school are boys, and this is much related to the fact that they are expected to leave school to start earning. Let me now move on to the indicator, which gives us a sense of the quality of education. So children are in school, but are they learning? One of the indicators that we have is the PISA score. This is, I think many of you are familiar with it. This is an international scoring. This is 10th graders, usually 15-year-olds, who take this test. The Philippines has stepped up and participated in the PISA now in 2 rounds, 2018 and 2022, and you see the numbers here. What you have here are the OECD numbers. We can call them rich countries if you like. We have 6 countries from the ASEAN who have taken also part in this, and then we have the scores for the Philippines here. You see that the Philippines, the test scores for boys and girls for both reading and math are below the ASEAN average, with girls doing slightly better than boys. So we're seeing that similar as to health, access is increasing, but there are concerns about the quality of the education that the children are receiving. So what are the major bottlenecks when it comes to the right to education? We talked about the fact that we have very low early childhood education access, and this is really have to do with the lack of access, lack of daycare centers. As you know, early childhood education depends on the local government unit, so there is varying access and priority given by the LGUs to early childhood education. We have a shortage of quality teachers, which we are aware of, contributing to some of the scores that you saw. Poverty, as we mentioned, the adolescents that are dropping out more often than not are dropping out because of the need to start earning and contributing to the family income. So poverty is definitely contributing to the lack of access to education and the constraints when it comes to the right to education. We also see perceptions of ECE. When we do social and behavior norm studies, we see that many parents in the Philippines do not necessarily see it as necessary for their 3 or 4-year-old to be going to pre-primary school. Many households in the Philippines are multi-generational, so there's always a lola, a ate, somebody who's going to be able to take care of that 3 and 4-year-old, so there's less of a necessity to see them going to daycare. And of course, we're also seeing that we have very limited resources for children with disabilities. Very few children with disabilities integrated into schools, as well as specific services provided for children with disabilities. Looking forward, we are really excited because this year we are conducting the second round of the Southeast Asia Primary Learning Matrix. That's like the PISA, but for 10-year-olds in grade 5. Many countries, 6 countries in the ASEAN region are a part of that. The regional office is supporting with that. So we will have the results next year to see whether how the learning quality is doing in the earlier years in elementary school.